Today, Gina Carano is uncanceled. Biden aide apparently missed the unity memo, and Andrew Cuomo, Emmy winner Andrew Cuomo, in hot water for his handling of COVID-19. We've got a lot coming up. Don't move a muscle. It starts right now. Welcome to the News and Why It Matters. I'm Sarah Gonzalez. Happy Friday. I said don't move a muscle. I guess you could move a muscle, but just don't move your butt. Keep your butt planted wherever you are. You can be a couch potato for the next hour to make sure that you are updated on today's Friday headlines. Today I am joined by Jaco Booyens, host of the Jaco Booyens Show.
Good to be here.
Thank you for being
in
here.
Cold Texas.
Yeah, oh my gosh.
Finally, it's winter.
I mean, now
the
at
bugs
least
can die.
Yeah, but the temperature is the same inside and outside the studio now.
That's true.
So we just dress accordingly, and it works for both indoors and outdoors. Also joined by Eric July, BlazeTV contributor, look, I'm not kidding. He's wearing a jacket, and I bet you're still kind of cold.
It's a little chilly.
It's so freaking cold.
Yeah, Texas, for whatever reason, right now is tripping. Please send global warming.
Yeah, please. I do not live in Texas for this weather. I can tell you that. All right. So breaking news today: Gina Carano, who of course we talked about yesterday, who was canceled by Disney Plus and the left after she dared post conservative memes, mask memes, and she, she made a comparison to Nazi Germany, to the way that America is all transpiring now. Of course, this was after Disney execs decided to keep their eye on her, which is, I think, why you saw the very quick, she made a comparison to Nazi Germany. We have to cancel her, because they were looking for an excuse to get rid of her. But less than 24 hours after all of that happened, she was fired from The Mandalorian. She was fired from her talent agency. It seemed as though Gina Carano would never work again. The Daily Wire announced that they have a new movie project with Gina Carano. She will now star in and produce a film for the Daily Wire, who, of course, just got into films recently with their movie Run, Hide, Fight, which I watched. I don't know if you guys saw it. I thought it was great. I thought it was a really great, solid, strong movie from them, especially for their first film. Gina Carano, in a statement, said they can't cancel us if we don't let them. She said, the Daily Wire is helping make one of my dreams, to develop and produce my own film, come true. I cried out and my prayer was answered. I am sending out a direct message of hope to everyone living in fear of cancellation by the totalitarian mob. I have only just begun using my voice, which is now freer than ever before, and I hope it inspires others to do the same. Good news, Jaco.
Huge news, and well done on Daily Wire. Caleb and the team over there, amazing, and she's probably been working on this project for a long time, and it's a dream, and it's very hard to produce a feature film, get someone to buy into your dreams and not try to bastardize it. And so this is a move up for her. And some would say, no, it's not. Trust me, this is a move up for her, and it's indicative of the culture saying, we can take these industries on ourselves as conservatives, as libertarians, right? And have replacement. Yeah. For the monopoly structures. They don't actually rule the world. We've let them, and we've fed them with all our money, and we bought their products. Finally now, people are saying enough's enough, and it's just good to see a talented individual be able to make a lateral and forward move and so quick. Mm-hmm. It's so good that it's so quick, and hopefully this inspires more people to say, I'm not wearing the mask, I'm not staying at home, I'm going to run my business. I'm just going to start saying no, and I'm going to start speaking freely again, because there are other people in the world that think the way you do, and they will rally around you, and they can't crush your dreams or cancel your life forever.
Yeah.
This is the argument that I've been making for a very long time. I've told people that the battle and conservatives have frustrated me to no end. When they put so much stake in politics. Libertarians do it too. Culturally, completely inept. Placing so much stake in the political realm and not investing in culture, which is exactly where the battle has been at. Yeah. Leftists, give them credit. They played the long game. This is why they have hijacked essentially every form of subculture or entertainment and this is where I will criticize a lot of conservatives and libertarians. They actually neglected some cultures, including your last president, who had some very stupid things to say about video games. This is where the battle is to be won. You don't have to be in hiding anymore.
That's right.
You never had to be. Leftists certainly aren't. They don't reciprocate that. They will take over. They will hijack it because they are more so activists. And what we saw with Lucasfilm, what we've seen with Disney, we know they're hypocrites. They live in a completely different world, these leftists, where they actually will never concede that the bias is slanted towards them, clearly, all the way to them. Disney hires and backs people that have said far worse things than Gina has ever said that are working not just with Disney, but with Lucasfilm, Pedro Pascal. And talking about, that's where they clutch their pearls. They say, oh, well, this was so wrong. How could you compare what happened in Nazi Germany to what's going on now? Well, I don't know. You've been doing that for 4 years when you called everybody freaking Nazi. That's exactly what they've been doing. A lot of them are still employed right now. So we know that they're hypocrites. But the battle is to be won right there where Gina Carano is, where guys like Daily Wire or anybody else, where they just simply engage in the culture that we all embrace. Right now, they hijacked everything, like you pointed to. You've been giving your money to people that actually hate your guts. It's like they make some content and they say, are you good enough for us? You're not even looking at you as a consumer, which is what these big companies, these big production companies, entertainment from top to bottom, this is what they've done. They went all in on appealing to that crowd, which it may backfire because that crowd is not only unreliable, they don't care about their bottom line. They just want you outed and away from the subculture that they hijack. So how do you combat that? You engage. You engage with the culture. So this is why I've been saying from the top of my lungs, this is why I started my band Backwards that some of you guys love so much. I set out to get into music and be an open libertarian. Doesn't mean every single song that I make. It doesn't mean I'm going to beat the audience over the head with it, but you're going to know exactly who I am, and I'm not going to be afraid to speak it. This is what we need. And if conservatives and libertarians put as much stake in that as they did in lobby groups or any other bullcrap tied strictly to politics, they would get on the other side of this. So this is a way to be optimistic about this whole entire situation. This battle can be won, but you need to engage. So if you are in one of these subcultures, doesn't matter if you're a musician, you're an actor, you're an athlete, out yourself. I get reached out to all the time. People, well, man, I love what you say. Comic book writers, artists, I love what you say. They write for Marvel, DC, love what you say. But I can't say that out in public. Yes, you can. You can. Your enemies certainly do it. You can do it. So get out there and do it. And it's on the consumers to back those. Turn them into rock stars. Turn Gina Carano into the biggest actor, actress, producer that is out there. You can do that. So put as much energy as you put in backing artists and entertainers that will then get on a podium and tell you how much they hate you or how much you're a Nazi. Put that energy in backing people that either doesn't mean they have to be straight line conservative, but at least, or libertarian, but at least they have somewhat of a free mind. Something I'm very passionate about.
No, I love it, but I'll tell you this, and there was a time when it was way more difficult, and because it was difficult, because they controlled distribution. And we'll say content is king in the industry, content is king, but distribution is emperor. And you can have the greatest content, but if you can't get it to the people, and they have controlled, right? Clear channel media, broadcasting, movie theaters, and all of a sudden something as bad as COVID broke many bad molds and opened up opportunity for distribution. Here we are sitting at the Blaze Media. We can go to people and they can't cancel the Blaze because you, the viewer, the subscriber, and please get your friends to subscribe, you own this platform, right? So now all of a sudden that you can get content to the consumer, now Disney doesn't control the movie theater anymore because you may not know, but they work in a 1 in 10 theory. They only need 1 out of 10 movies to make money. The other 10 just take up space. They just fill the theater slots. You have a recording artist you can't get on the radio. Why? Because Sony takes up so many slots. And it's all about market capture. Same if you want to sell into Walmart. It's about shelf space. Now all of a sudden, I don't need Walmart. I don't need the movie theater. I now can have free space. I can have Daily Wire, I can have the Blaze Media, and I can get my content out. This should inspire people to go, I don't have to sell my soul, literally, to the devil. Yes, I just called them the devil, all right? Because they come in alignment and rob Americans. There's other channels and avenues to truly monetize your content. Because there was a time when you had to do it through, MySpace and you couldn't monetize. Or you had to throw your music out there and sell it at the back of your trunk, right? And it was hard. Today, those days are over. Now you can get it to the people. And this is amazing. It's good to see.
Yeah, especially at a time when, I think conservatives are starving for a place that they can feel good about giving their money, right?
Absolutely.
Like, you had Disney Plus, which I know canceled Disney Plus was trending on Twitter the other day. Who knows how much of a dent that's really going to leave in Disney Plus's pocketbook? You had Netflix a while back that people wanted to stop, giving them money because of their child pornography. They had Cuties that came out that was...
and then
not a good look. Yeah.
Several. Teacher, Cuties, yeah.
Right. So I think, conservatives, I think they felt kind of, pinned because they're like, okay, well, I would love to give my hard-earned money to a place that actually believes in my right to exist, but also I don't know where that is because if I waited for that, I would literally have nothing to watch. I'd have nothing to watch. I'd have nowhere to go.
True.
I could not go see any movies. I could not go see any concerts because they all control that.
Right.
But Eric, you're saying that's not necessarily all the left's doing. It's also conservatives.
Absolutely. No, it goes both ways.
Yeah.
It's what they've done and it's still what the other side is.
We've died on the wrong heels.
Exactly. In terms of what they
Super
neglected.
PACs
Yes, most definitely. But there are things that exist. And let's take a step back as far as why we have loved. Hell, I have on the freaking Donald Duck.
I know. I was like, is that
Disney,
a subtle shout out to
thing.
Disney?
Original
stuff.
Vision. Exactly.
Not
Walt would
Roy
be
and
rolling in
Jeffrey
his grave.
Katzenberg.
Most definitely.
Yeah.
He
Bob
would.
Iger and
Not those guys and Kevin Feige and all those guys.
But big buddies with China.
When you talk about stuff like this is stuff that a lot of us have grown up on, and it was a more neutral platform. It didn't matter what background that you came from, what ethnic background, what political background. This was stuff that we just consumed that was awesome, and it crossed political lines.
But it was art for art's sake.
Right.
It wasn't art for political sake.
Bingo, exactly. And what's happened is now it's for political sake,
100%.
in which they have now hijacked Disney, and they now really are able to lecture everybody else. Again, it's about how good are you as the audience. They're not making it for you. They're hiring people that, when it comes to like old IPs or properties, they don't even care about this. They have no connection to any of that. They just want to utilize it to then lecture you. So you talked about COVID, which is perfect. Right now, there is so many opportunities, but I also encourage you guys that certainly watching the show to get out there and seek that stuff out, because you'd be surprised how much of it is already out there.
Yes.
It's already out there. I've talked about the fact that in, like, let's say the gaming space, for example, which is it's a multiple billion-dollar industry. I think it actually has eclipsed the whole Hollywood thing.
It has eclipsed movies.
Yes, it's one of the biggest things out there right now. Where do you exist in that space? Nowhere. But you go to Twitch right now, for example, you can see it's a safe haven for leftists. They get all the endorsements, they get all the sponsorships. And it's not that people like myself aren't on Twitch or anything like that. It's that for a very long time, conservatives and libertarians have just completely neglected culture. And that's because you've been pretending that the enemy thinks like yourself. It would be awesome if they were as rational as us, and they did lead with reason, and they did lead with ideas. But that's not the game that we're playing right now. They don't lead with that. They lead with culture. They lead with emotion. So you're going to have to get in the trenches, because simply having the best ideas is not good enough.
Yeah, look, there's 7 mountains of influence in society. There's the 7 spheres of influence. Entertainment's one of them, education's one, government, politics, healthcare, right? Military. And we've just neglected some of these mountains of influence. Unfortunately, the right and the Christian community for sure.
Absolutely.
The mountains we've neglected were the most influential.
Yeah.
Entertainment.
Good point.
Entertainment.
Yeah.
And we've neglected the one sphere of influence that impacts everything. Music speaks to everything.
Absolutely.
Film speaks to everything. They can indoctrinate anything. And we forfeited that. I don't know if people know, but in the 1960s, the MPAA, the Motion Picture Association of America, was 60% run by the church.
Really?
By the church. And on one Friday in a board meeting, they walked out and said, Hollywood, you can have it. And then all of a sudden you went through a PG-13 movie where you couldn't even have anything. Now you can drop 9 F-bombs. You can have flat out sex in a PG-13 movie, because the church forfeited. We forfeited this stuff. And then the beast we empowered, we fed them. We send all our money to the beast. These are just the facts. And so it's one thing to say, I said it before with the Biden thing too, they stole it from us, they stole it. We left the back door open.
There you go. And that's a harsh reality that a lot of people don't want to accept, that are on generally our side of thinking, because it's like, well, they are the bad people and therefore they're the bad actors, which I get it. But you also have to do some, look in the mirror as far as some things that has been done, what got us to this point. And that's what a lot of folks don't want to entertain, is how did we get here? The leftists simply played the long game. Yep. Say what you will about them, as dumb as we might think they are, they were at least smart enough to understand that definitely for future generations, if we get control of their entertainment, we got them.
Yeah.
We got control of the future generation. They already got your education.
You want to talk about Nazi? Yeah. That was literally a Hitler-Nazi manifesto. You control Hollywood, you control America, you capture the youth, you've got the parent. That's a long play. It's a 45-year plan.
Yeah.
We need to get with the program and take some culture back.
Yeah. Amen. All great points here at the table. All right, we've got more to come. First, we want to thank our sponsor, new sponsor to the show, Raycon. So probably if you're like most Americans, you're always looking at a screen. Maybe you're watching this program, obviously, which you should be catching Monday through Friday, but there's a lot to consume. If you are in serious need of a distraction, unplugging yourself is way easier than ever. You can use Raycon. They're wireless earbuds. You put them in your ear, Raycon wireless earbuds, and just listen to whatever. Maybe you want to catch up on a podcast. Maybe you want to listen to an audiobook. Maybe you just want to listen to music and pretend like 2021 has not even happened yet. You can do that with Raycon. There are no dangling wires or stems to get in your way. They're awesome. I have them at my house. You just put them in your ear. They're designed to be not seen, so they don't have that big long thing hanging off like their competitor. It's a much more discreet look. They are built to perform anywhere, anytime. They've got water and sweat resistant construction. And the Bluetooth, when I got mine, I opened them up and I was like, oh, great, I'm going to have to pair them to my Bluetooth. No, I just turned them on and it was like Bluetooth paired. Oh, okay, great. It's that easy. It's a very, very quick and seamless, and battery life for 6 hours of playtime. I'm telling you guys, these are the earbuds to have, and they are much cheaper than a lot of the alternatives. They are starting at half the price of other premium audio brands. Well worth the money. You got to go to buyraycon.com/Y. They're giving you 15% off right now, your entire order. All right, so feel free to grab a pair and a spare, or maybe if you're like me, you're like, oh crap, now my kid wants some too. So I got to get some for the kids too, because they're so freaking cool and awesome that your kids are going to steal them. So you might as well get two in your cart. It is 15% off right now at buyraycon.com/Y. It is BUY, raycon.com/Y. Back in a minute. A White House official tried to quash a story about his relationship with a reporter by issuing threats and using derogatory language to another reporter who was pursuing the story. This is according to two sources familiar with the incident. Now, People revealed that White House Deputy Press Secretary T.J. Ducklo is apparently dating an Axios reporter, Alexi McCammond, who covered the Biden campaign. But apparently Tara Palmieri was reporting the story, trying to get the story out to the public, and Ducklo was very, very mad that this story was going to go public, had lashed out at Tara Palmieri, and apparently exhibiting behavior that led to tense meetings between the Washington news outlet's editors and senior White House officials. Apparently, the White House just announced that Ducklo would be suspended for 1 week over this, but he really pursued her heavily and apparently told her by phone, "I will destroy you." During an off-the-record call, Ducklo made derogatory and misogynistic comments, accusing her of only reporting on his relationship because she was jealous that an unidentified man had wanted to have sex with his girlfriend and not her. So weird, because I keep hearing the message of unity coming from the White House. Unity, unity, unity. We all need to be kind. I mean, aren't we supposed to believe that this man got elected because everyone was so tired of mean tweets? right? The misogynistic president, misogynistic this. And now, apparently Joe Biden surrounds himself with people who threaten to destroy women and their careers for reporting truth in journalism. Two things strike me here. Of course, the hypocrisy with, hiring all the best people and having all, oh, we're better than them. We're morally superior to them. That.
Not even close.
Yes. Along with the fact that the left is so used to journalists covering for them that they do have this arrogant attitude that you do see the White House aide say, I'm going to destroy you. You better not publish that, because it seems as though they have this entitlement to owning the story, and they decide then what the media does.
It's always worked. For 4 years, you've conditioned the media and you've conditioned the left that you get away with everything. You can basically do anything. We can make your son, having sex with little girls go away if you're running for president. We can make anything go away. Heck, we can make Clinton Foundation look like the greatest, not-for-profit on planet Earth, where it's the most evil empire. I mean, they can do anything, and all of a sudden there's nothing else to talk about. Orange Man has kind of gone silent and not in the White House anymore. And so they're going to report on things. And at the end of the day, human nature is always going to take over. There's still a human being involved here that's being targeted. And at some point, they do the right thing and they should report on this stuff. This should be blown wide open. This whole notion that this cabinet and this White House has hired all these great people. Show me a single thing that this White House has talked about where they're actually defending humanity, human beings, even their own, the ones that voted them in. They have tossed them by the wayside. They're railroading them. Way back when we talk in history, a friend of mine just reminded me that there was a time when they laid bodies in the snow and they drove tanks in Europe over their own people to get traction. That's this administration. They will railroad the very person that stood in the booth and voted for Joe Biden and throw them on a dumpster. They don't care a thing about the public, the people in the United States. If you're in that circle, you can do whatever. And you think, and they've been trained, that they should be protected. That's why you see this kind of behavior. What do you mean you're going to report on this? There's a story here.
Yeah. And we did see Joe Biden do that a lot on the campaign trail. Anytime anyone, usually it was Fox News, anytime anyone would come and question him about anything, and he got in their face at some points in time, really got in their faces and yelled, because it was like he was so taken aback that they would actually ask a question challenging him.
Yeah, that was what I was going to bring up. I mean, they have this sense of entitlement because that has been an extension of them. Certainly, more recently, I think it's been going on longer than that, but the media in a lot of cases and reporters, it's been an extension of them, and you've seen that manifest itself to the highest order in the last 4 to 5 years in terms of how they have covered the former president versus the now president, and certainly when it came to getting this guy in office. And like you had mentioned, it's not as much to cover anymore. They're not as real. They're still trying to cling to with this impeachment thing, still trying to cling on to that, but they don't have much outside of that. And then, they're going to start turning on themselves. But because they have sort of cultured this whole idea that you work for us, y'all are not reporters that are supposed to be objective, trying to inform everybody else about situations that's happening. No, you work for us. So, of course, they're going to lash out in the event that you are stepping in line. So all for me it does is just prove along what I've been saying, is that they see that and it has been that way because they've gotten away with it for a very long time. Not just the mainstream media, but a lot of these reporters and journalists that they let in on they're just mouthpieces for them. They're extensions. They're only there to demonize the people that they hate and prop up them. That's it. If you step out of that then becomes an issue. So I don't know. Again, I know a lot of leftists, they live in La La Land and they think that they're the ones that are being targeted, which, again, you have to be in a completely different dimension in order to not be able to see the bias. But for those of us on actual planet Earth, we've been seeing this bias play itself out, but it's going to be interesting to see the longer time we are removed from Trump. At what point do they say, well, we got to cover something?
Well, at some point, right, I had a football coach on the sideline one day, and a rookie just had the worst game you could ever imagine. I thought, this guy's getting fired. And this coach looked at me and he said, I'm going to give him a rope. He's either going to hang himself or swing, proverbially, hang himself or swing. Give them rope. They're going to turn on each other. There's a massacre. like a political massacre coming in the media, where some people in media, like this woman, are just going to say, I'm going to report on that. It's a story because I got to report on something. They're going to turn on one another. Just give them rope. Wait, you'll see.
And we will, to your point, Eric, we will have to wait just a little bit longer, I think, because they are still very wrapped up in Trump. I saw Jim Acosta tweeted out, I think it was yesterday, and he was like, Trump was golfing all day. I'm like, he's a private citizen now. I think he can golf if he wants to, right? I'm pretty sure, like, I get it when you used to try to criticize him for not working as a president because, you know, oh, he's the first president, I guess, who's ever golfed on a day.
I'd be golfing every day.
Well, right, but I'm like, what the hell do you want him to do? He's not president
I think
anymore.
they want him to be freaking out because of this whole impeachment thing.
Oh, I promise you he's not just golfing. He's building an empire.
But like I think that's they want to see him freaking out right now, and they don't see that, so they're frustrated. Like, we're impeaching you. How dare you just act like that's not even a thing happened? It's like he just sent some people. Y'all go talk. And he's like he picked them from the street.
Our guy sat in a dungeon throughout the whole campaign.
Yeah, exactly. But it's like he picked a couple guys from the street, said, "All right, man, during this impeachment, y'all go talk to him. I'm gonna be back here doing my thing," and they don't like that.
Right. All right, we have got more to come back in a minute. Governor Andrew Cuomo of New York in hot water once again, which is no surprise to anyone who has been paying attention to what has been actually going on in New York and not just the ridiculous awards that Andrew Cuomo has been receiving. Melissa DeRosa, who is his secretary, attempted to walk back an earlier admission that the state actually withheld COVID-19 nursing home death data on purpose. On a phone call with New York's Democratic lawmakers, she said that the administration feared that the data would be used against them by the Justice Department in the midst of the federal probe. So they were just like, oh, we're just not going to tell them. We're just going to cover it up. Which
funny that keeps happening. In California too. Just withhold information because you may misanalyze it.
Well, right. They're like, oh, well, we were afraid that might be used against us. Like, well, yeah, you're damn right it's going to be used against you because if you made a poor decision, you should expect consequences for that decision.
Cooking the books.
Yes, but I think it's very similar to what we were talking about with the left and media. Right? Like the Democrats, they just feel very emboldened to do whatever they need to do, say whatever they need to say because they're used to having cover being given for them. Today, DeRosa sought to clarify her comments, saying that she was, quote, explaining that when we received the DOJ inquiry, we needed to temporarily set aside the legislature's request to deal with the federal request first. I'm very sure that is what happened, especially since earlier this week, the state revealed that the number of deaths was actually 15,049 residents in elder care facilities, which is almost 10,000 more than they actually reported at the beginning of the year. Just 10,000 more, though.
Well, if you were going to hold it back because you had to give preference to a federal request versus a state request, then don't release the numbers to the public. And don't run your political campaign on these numbers. And don't point to other states. I can remember Cuomo saying, we're doing great in New York.
Oh, wasn't it an Emmy? He got a freaking Emmy.
For his TV series. So opportunistic, you know? So opportunistic.
He wrote a damn book on how to handle all of this. He wrote a freaking book that he is profiting off of. Well, I don't think anyone's buying it.
Volume 2 should be How to Kill Old People. Quickly.
It's incredible. It is absolutely incredible. You saw Fauci come out and make comments about how Andrew Cuomo was handling it the correct way, right? I mean, everyone bastardized Trump completely. Oh, he's horrible. He's mishandling this. Oh, but look at Andrew Cuomo, the savior. This is how you handle a pandemic. Oh my gosh, maybe he should run for president. And now we find out, no, he actually was just covering up all of his administration's mistakes the entire time. This is criminal.
Oh, it absolutely is criminal. It's akin to what we saw out there in California, where you had instances where I can't remember the county was saying that they had to withhold information because if they put it out, it will confuse the public.
Right.
Because
confuse the public from their narrative.
Yeah, from basically it will confuse them, and people may obviously misanalyze this.
Right.
Because the people can't be trusted with this with this honest
people
information.
Can't handle it.
No, they can't handle it.
They're only paying for their salaries.
Exactly.
Right?
No,
But they
that's it.
can't
Yeah,
be
yeah,
able
yeah.
to-
You're getting your money stolen from to
We skipped math class.
pay for them. Yeah. No, but yeah, it absolutely is criminal. It is criminal. Let's call it exactly what it is, but it does show the different dimension that I've been saying on the show today that they live in. When even if we didn't have that data, and you look at New York's numbers versus everybody else, I don't see how anybody unless they're just completely blind, can say that they were ever a success. This does nothing but just add to it. The ticking time bombs that he left inside of the nursing homes, which is the most vulnerable population. You would think we would look to him to see this is how you don't do it, considering who we know to be the most vulnerable. But no, that's not what happened. They parade this guy up, his guy, Orange Man bad. They parade him up, put him up on his pedestal, like, look at him, he's a great person. He gets an international Emmy because he gets on TV to tell people whatever nonsense that he's going to tell them, while also withholding information that is very, very not important just to the numbers, but it's important for perspective.
No, but used it as a basis, Eric, to influence this whole nation. And I will tell you, nations. I could go as far as saying Andrew Cuomo's actions influenced nations because they were pointing towards New York City, the Big Apple, as this is how you do it. Oh, so you take a virus, you lock it in an old age home. By the way, check me on this, but he removed his own mother from the old age home.
I know that happened in Pennsylvania.
Right, yeah, they did. And so anyway, you lock them in, and nations went and say, okay, this is what to do. So I could argue this had a ripple effect throughout the country. What happened in California, a ripple effect throughout the country. This is criminal. Do you think they'll walk it back? No, they won't. But it's so like them to call good evil and evil good, right?
Absolutely.
This is what you do. Give him an Emmy. He's amazing. You mean amazing at neglecting the elderly and killing the elderly? Yeah, but then I want to just say something. At the stroke of midnight 2020, this is pre-COVID, the stroke of midnight 2020, they released a ton of criminals onto the street, and in their no bail manifesto was highly derogatory and neglect towards the elderly, to the point where if you abuse an elderly person in person, you don't have to pay bail. So there's a history with this guy in New York going, Jews and old people, I don't care about them. Now I want to talk to the Jews and the old people in New York. Why are you being an idiot and you keep voting for this idiot? You keep voting this guy into office. Every Jew in New York that voted for Cuomo, get your mind right. You're out of your mind.
No, I mean, he's neglected, subcultures. We see that with the Jewish community, definitely with the COVID situation.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? And how they just got
He profiled them.
Yeah, he profiled
and yet
them.
they still voted.
Yeah. Like it's one of those things where, again, I think a lot of people, unfortunately, are led by what they want the world to be and not what it actually is.
Yes.
And so, this guy's bad, Trump bad. He has what's in everybody's worst interest, especially minority groups, non-white, straight men. But Cuomo's of the world, and they care so much about everybody else despite their policies, not just when it comes to COVID, but really everything else, minimum wage, all sorts of things that are actually more impactful in terms of hurting other these sort of communities. But that's what it is. People speak things, and they want to speak things into existence. But the most interesting thing is that we keep finding more and more examples of the state. It doesn't matter whether it be New York, federal government. I mean, I'm speaking of state, like in a term of a territorial monopoly on use and force and violence. But a state can withhold all of this information. We see this time and time again, where they're withholding information. They're being dishonest in how they report the information to the public. We've seen that so many cases in Florida, motorcycle accidents being lumped into COVID. So how do we look at these numbers as if they are all legitimate, and we keep seeing time and time and time again that they're not? There's too many examples. One, maybe a couple, but 10,000 deaths is kind of a big deal. How much more information are they withholding from you guys just because, well, it may not make sense to you, and all that means is that, well, you will see through our sham.
But Sarah, who were the top three voices that the left championed throughout COVID, right? Who were they? Fauci, Newsom, and Cuomo.
Yeah.
Okay?
They've been like the worst and got everything wrong.
And they championed these guys, and those are the three that got everything wrong the most. And then they pin it all on Trump. But those are probably the three that struck out
Yeah.
The most often.
All of the policies that they said was supposed to work, Newsom had implemented those. They still had all the outbreak and everything. So you're seeing that in action, that it was ineffective, it wasn't working. You saw what happened with Cuomo. Hey, old people are most vulnerable. Let's put the old people that with COVID in the nursing homes.
Fauci, who's still
Fauci,
there,
who doesn't even have a position, or rather, he'll have a position depending on where it sways. Double mask, no double mask, mask, no mask. Moved the polls time and time again. He's been wrong about everything, or I guess you could say he's been right about everything, depending on what way that you want to look at it. Because he'll take whatever.
A broken clock is right twice a day.
Exactly,
buddy.
right. It's like, hey, if I take both positions, I'll always come out on top.
I'll be right sometime. All right, we got to take a break. Back in a minute.
But really, it's those three.
Yeah.
It's incredible. And Newsom. All right, the ACLU has gone on the record to debunk myths about trans athletes, claiming that trans girls do not, you're mistaken, trans girls do not actually have unfair advantages in sports. Do you guys remember, before we get into this, do you remember back in the old days when the ACLU actually just did things that were actually about civil liberties?
Back when Disney was.
Yeah. Right, exactly.
It was decent.
Yeah.
But it's like anything that starts good, the left hijacks and just bastardizes.
Runs it into the ground. That's what they do.
It's so true. Here are a couple of the myths for you. Sex is binary. Apparent at birth. Remember, these are myths, is what they're saying, not facts. Yeah, you're going to get confused. You're going to be like, yeah, and? Myth 1, sex is binary, apparent at birth, and identifiable through singular biological characteristics. So biological sex and gender are not binaries. There are no set hormone ranges, body parts, or chromosomes that all people of a particular sex or gender have. So you may think that if you just birthed a baby and that baby has a penis, it's a boy, but ACLU tells you you would be mistaken. Myth number 2, trans athletes' physiological characteristics provide an unfair advantage over cis athletes. They said that in many states, the very same cis girls, which is such a ridiculous term, who have claimed that trans athletes have an unfair advantage, have consistently performed as well as or better than transgender competitors. And it's weird because they don't actually cite any examples there.
No.
Huh. No. Wonder why that is.
Because there aren't any.
Thank you. Myth number 3, the participation of trans athletes hurts cis women. Excluding women who are trans hurts all women, except for the women who are actually women.
This is unbelievable.
It's crazy, right?
This is insanity.
I know. It invites gender policing that could subject any woman to invasive tests or accusations of, quote, being too masculine or, quote, too good at their sport to be a, quote, real woman.
All right. Okay.
Okay. So let's see. And then last one. Trans students need separate teams. That is apparently also a myth. Trans people, like all people, may experience detrimental effects to their physical and emotional well-being when they are pushed out of affirming spaces and communities, which is weird because I think if they're developing an entire league for you, I would say that's pretty inclusive and affirming that they're saying.
Recognizing you. Absolutely.
I mean, that takes a lot of time, energy, money, 100%. Effort to put together a league specifically for you. But apparently that is not enough because that doesn't mean that you're pushing women to the ground and steamrolling over them, in which case sometimes literally that is what they're doing.
Can I go? So here's what I have to say about this. Sport was my life for a pretty minute there in my life. Yeah. Here's what I have to say, okay?
NFL superstar Jakob Williams.
Where is your uterus? You don't have a uterus, you're not a woman. Okay. Sorry, buddy. You can feel and think whatever you want. You're not a woman. Secondly, let's go to Cyborg, the #1 fighter in Ultimate Fighting, and ask her to go fight Stipe Miocic tomorrow, and she's going to tell you, I'm going to die in the ring. Let's look at the clock in world records. There's not a single instance. Flojo, the fastest woman alive.
I ran faster.
Okay.
If anybody, Flojo. If you want to look at Texas A&M Corpus Christi University,
you ran faster than Flojo.
I ran. So if I decided to identify, I would have the world record.
Now let's take Usain Bolt. So this could be the fastest woman on earth.
Not even joking.
Right. You know what I say? Hey, our friend from Hollywood who became a woman who won a gold medal in the Olympics, give it back. Okay. Yeah. If you want a trans league, Go do a trans league. Do you know why they won't compete in a trans league? They're going to get the snot beat out of them. And it's not about that. It's about conquering women. It's about going in there and being number 500 as a male athlete and all of a sudden number 1 as a female athlete. And this trickles down in society. You're talking about little girls that's been working their whole life. My wife was a junior Olympic track and field champion, full ride scholar at UNC. She would not have had a scholarship. Okay? All of a sudden you take careers away from people. Why not just compete in your own class? We have classes in boxing, weight class. Let's make a class for you. This is the trans class. Okay, and then let's see when the woman who thinks she's a man and the man and woman go together in the trans class, all of a sudden they'll start complaining, going, "Well, there's an unfair advantage here." It's a simple test. Take your son and your daughter that's similar age out there and say, "Pick up that barrel." You pick up the barrel. Okay. Oh, and then last point. Why all of a sudden then should we test for anabolic steroids? Why? Because hormones matter. The production of hormones matter. Okay, testosterone and estrogen actually has an effect on the body. So now you bring a guy who's a guy, okay? He was born with 2 marbles, okay? He's producing a hormone that women do not produce the same volume of, and if they wanted it, they'd have to anabolically stimulate it. Now you want that dude to go compete there? No, women are gonna get hurt, Sarah, like really hurt. You're gonna break culture. We need to push back on this like crazy. Or let's have a little social experiment. Let's take one of these women that are trans, and let's take one of these men that are trans, right? And say, put them in a cage. Let's go. Put them in a weightlifting contest. Put them in a sprint contest. Put them in anything, right? And then ask the guy who doesn't have a uterus to please push a baby out.
Eric, to Yaku's point, there has been a woman who got her skull broken,
face broken from this. Look, and I don't want to be the guy mansplaining, at the table or anything like that, but I would have to imagine that this has to be an insult to women. Actually,
I can't believe that it's not, Eric.
Actual women, because they are basically saying that we can enter your space, dominate it, and it's nothing wrong with that. Like you shouldn't feel any sort of way. You're not being erased, which is why at one point, when that whole scholarship thing or whatever, that executive order that Biden passed, that was trending on Twitter, the whole Biden erasure of women, because it's a real thing. And I speak from this because I'm connected to a sport that's going to be and has been one of the most affected. Track and field, right? That has been my life. Talk about you being an athlete your entire life. That is my life up until 23, 24 years of age. I had competed at the highest level except being a professional. And to see that that's what they want. Guys like myself, you mentioned, I would literally, I'm not making that up. Don't take my word for anything. You go look at the Texas A&M University, Corpus Christi, 100-meter school record. I have it. Eric July has it, and it's faster than FloJo's my time at 10.
You should go claim your Olympic medals,
so
brother.
all I had to do was say I'm this, and that's how gender or sex or whatever they call it works. Then I would be world record holder. So you need to respect that. Matter of fact, I'm doing it right now. I identify as a woman. I now have the world record.
Wow, congratulations,
Thanks.
Eric.
Appreciate that.
Wow.
That's how easy it is.
Gold medal for you.
It took
pretty
a
easy,
while.
brother.
And it's fluid anyway, so I can change it tomorrow.
There you go.
Fine.
Yeah, just change it back. Like our friend Zuby.
Yeah, Zuby, yeah.
I'll be the
Broke
fastest
record.
animal. I'll be a cheetah.
All right, don't forget to go subscribe. All of you who are watching our lovely faces, wherever you're watching our lovely faces, go subscribe wherever you get your audio podcasts. Subscribe, rate, and review the podcast. It will help others find it so that more people can actually get the news they want to hear, followed by good commentary and not crappy commentary like, Brian Stelter, Chris Cuomo, Don Lemon. I could go on forever. Also, don't forget, these two gentlemen here both have shows that you should be listening to. We've got Yaku Booyans, host of the Yaku Booyans show. It's on Instagram. Is it on YouTube?
YouTube.
It's on YouTube as well. Free Space, all over the place. Also, we've got Eric July here, Young Ripa 5'9". You broadcast all the time live on YouTube.
Yep,
so you got to make sure that you subscribe so that you can catch him live as well. Thank you, gentlemen, for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you.